keep it as an export economy, because the population that we serve with the manufacturing industry have no purchasing power. And it doesn't seem to me that we've made any change in the purchasing power of a large sector of the population in the past 20 years.
Good morning. I want to understand that in terms of social flows, when the mining companies come and do the extraction in different places, because you said most of the time they don't have anything that is holding them in terms of the mineral rights, the platinum they've got, they can exploit because they can speak to the chief, then they give them authorization without any law that is holding them. So I'm trying to check in terms of the social clauses, what kind of responsibility that can be emphasized around those things. Thank you.
Hi, Anne Mayer from IANRA, the International Alliance on Natural Resources in Africa. Thanks to all the presentations and for the work you've done to figure out a lot of this drivers of the political economy of the platinum industry. My question is, and this is something we've been talking about for some time, and we've been talking about it also with continental level advocacy with some of the AU bodies, but is anyone planning to look at doing a real cost-benefit analysis of looking at what the costs are of mining versus the actual revenues coming into a country from tax or from royalties or from whatever it is? Because if you really look at the subsidization of profits by women in communities, by health departments that take care of ex-mine workers, by all of these things, cleanup, for example, in the Gauteng province, acid mine drainage. My question is, I wonder, is what's coming in and versus what's going out, is it a positive? I mean, that's actually going to the state. So that's my question. Anyone thinking about that?
Hello, thanks to the speakers, first of all. I have a question that also centers around the environmental issues, and I'm pretty sure that what Dick told us is probably not very known in the communities that are around the mines. So how many tons of whatever they are, emitting. So I was wondering if there's, because obviously those companies are not being held accountable for any of their pollution. Is there any movement within the population, against the pollution, against what the mines are doing to the environment?
I think we'll take one last question before we ask the panelists to respond. Could you stand? I'm sorry, I should have asked.
I think I'm very vocal. My name is Martha Musang. I'm from the Lesotho Trade Union Congress. My question is about issues of labor migration. My sister has just talked about communities around the mining, but mine is different. I just want to know, especially from the last presenter, he explicitly explained that no safety, no mining or no work. So I just want to know, because the presentation did not come out clearly, because I know most of the Basotho, they die in this mining, and also some of them don't even have benefits. So I would have been very much interested if it came out clearly what happens about labor migration in the platinum mining sector. Thank you.
If I can stop that round there and ask the panelists, perhaps starting with Sam, to respond to all the questions.
Is there a second round?
I was going to call for a second round, but I thought maybe at this point to ask the panelists to respond to some of the questions.
I'll skip to the second round.
Thanks, Sam. So to come to the question asked by Deneo and yourself as well, because obviously the two questions are linked. The various impacts of platinum mining in the largely rural areas where it's located, the social effects of that and the regulation which may or may not be trying to get local people of one type or another a better deal. First of all, what I want to say is that we are going to have a panel looking specifically at this question later today. Because it's such an important question, we really need to explore it. And because it's impacting on so many people, we need to look into it a lot better. So I would just like to just say one thing now as a prelude to that panel, to keep it at a level of generality, which is to emphasise a point that Carl made in his opening introductions and to fit in with Dunbar making his contrast between platinum and gold. What I was saying earlier was, of course, one of the striking things about the platinum mining industry is precisely its location within South Africa. And that has implications in terms of the forms of landed property it confronts and the kinds of strategies which platinum mining companies have been able to pursue, maybe in a different way to gold mining companies. But of course this has a whole set of other implications, a whole set of social implications. And I think the really extraordinary thing about the rise of the platinum mining industry in New South Africa, which we have yet to fully grasp and understand precisely because it's happening in front of our very eyes, is that we are seeing the massive spatial reconfiguration of the mining economy. We are looking at mining capital moving from its historic centres in white South Africa, on the Rand, on the Witbank, those being exhausted as industries or reserves, and broadly speaking shifting northwards into the northern provinces, which were mainly black rural areas and historically themselves functioned as labour reserves, if not directly supplying the mining industry itself in the white areas, certainly bound up in the broader migrant labour system at which the mining industry was historically at the core. This is an absolutely massive change, a massive shift, a transformation within not just the economic structure of the post-apartheid mining economy, but within its social structure as well. And then this is leading to a whole new set of confrontations, a whole new set of relationships, a whole new set of tensions, which are emerging in the New South Africa in these places, and Marikana has to be understood as an aspect of that. But let us explore those questions in more detail when we move to that panel this afternoon. And both of those questions you've asked, thank you, won't be forgotten.
Yeah, social clauses, yeah, perhaps it will be discussed. I'm very close now through my family to a fight against the Australian mining company and their subsidiary on the Wild Coast, where they want to do open cast titanium mining on the beaches on a 21-kilometer long stretch from about a little south of Port Edward and down to the Mtemto River. And this fight has been going on for 8-9 years, and the community has been successful because it seems like the structure of traditional leadership and tribal authority is not the same as in many other areas. The community is much stronger in relation to chiefs and the headmen and so on, which basically, if most of them regard themselves as spokespersons of the community rather than someone who is ruling over the community. You can also see is that women are members of the tribal authority in the tribal council, and women speaks at the meeting. They have been able to fend off this company so far. There's an article about what kind of development they like in a booklet which come from the print press yesterday from AIDC and from Progressive Economics Network, which I will just you can read there. And the slogan is, if you don't want it, don't let it start. Never let it start. My impression is most of it ends in tears, and one big problem is that it's not the state that is negotiating or discussing with the local community about what the land use and so on. It's the private mining company that is doing it, and they're reporting to the DMR, who are obliged to say yes to every mining application. Right now, the whole Mpumalanga is filled with application for new coal mining, and I mean everything is going now. There was the chief editor of Business Day. He says in February last year, mine more and faster and ship what we mine cheaper and faster. And that is basically the primitive trajectory which is at the core of the NDP. And I think that is why also it has to be challenged as it is in this. I agree completely with the notion of a wage-led and sustainable growth path, which the speaker there, the gentleman there spoke about. I mean, this is really something coming up internationally also, that the profits are too high, the wages are too low, but in South Africa also, we have a structural demand deficit in the economy. So where the wage share in South Africa falls from 58, 57 to 50%, or in the private industry to 45, 40%, it falls in the north from perhaps 75 to 60, and they regard this as a problem. Capital is having a